Good morning and welcome to All Faiths Unitarian Congregation Sunday service. It is November 15th. I'm coming to you from my home this morning because we are unable to use our building due to COVID-19. I am the Reverend C.J. McGregor and I serve this congregation as its minister, and I will lead our service this morning. This month, our theme for our services is the unexpected. We want you to know that here at All Faiths, you will find a diverse and inclusive spiritual community where we welcome people with many beliefs. You can bring your whole self, your full identity, your questioning mind, and expansive heart. And at All Faiths, we have more than one way of experiencing the world and understanding the sacred. And no matter who you are, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, and no matter whom you love, you are welcome here. I have a few announcements for you this morning. Our building is closed through November 30th. And just a reminder that Regina, our office administrator, will be on vacation beginning November 23rd for a week. We have programs and meetings online via Zoom, so please check your newsletter for the times and the dates, and I hope to see you there. This Teaching Tuesday at 1 o'clock, which is a Zoom call, we have a representative of the Fort Myers Police Department, and we will learn about the police department's efforts in their reentry program. So I hope you can join us. So now let's join together and sing hymn number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. Please join in our chalice lighting words. May we touch the holy in each other and be touched by the graciousness of life. And may we find here a calm peacefulness that will carry us through the days ahead. We have a few joys and sorrows today. Please keep in your thoughts Howard Silverman, who is home recovering from surgery. Please keep Greg Monk, Cameron Anholt, Fran Way, Bob Way, and Joseph Brower in your thoughts as they recover from COVID-19. I'd also like to share a joy. Today is my son's 29th birthday, Robert, so happy birthday, Robert. As we keep people in our hearts, let us remember our member who died this week, Jim Goodman. He was a founding member of our congregation. So please honor him in some way and keep Natalie Hahn in our hearts. Also, Robert Bennett has been hospitalized this weekend, so if you could please hold him in your heart, and I'll offer updates when we can. So please join in singing hymn number 123, Spirit of Life. I'd like to ask everyone to close your eyes and take a deep breath, and let us turn our minds and our hearts to today's service. Let us share a few moments of silence. Thank you.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Sometimes I wonder if I'm ever gonna make it home again. It's so far and out of sight. I really need someone to talk to, and nobody else knows how to comfort me tonight. Snow is cold, rain is wet, chills my soul right to the marrow. I won't be happy till I see you alone again, till I'm home again and feeling right. Snow is cold, rain is wet, chills my soul right to the marrow. I won't be happy till I see you alone again, till I'm home again and feeling right, till I'm home again and feeling right. Oh, I wanna be home again and feeling right.
Our reading this morning is from Unitarian minister, the Reverend Thomas Starr King, from an 1863 sermon. I believe that if on Sunday morning before going to church we could be lifted to a mountain peak and see a horizon line of 600 miles enfolding the copious splendor of the light on such a varied expanse, or if we could look up on a square mile of flowers representing all of the species with which the creative spirit embolders embroiders a zone, or if we could be made to realize the distance of the earth from the sun, the light of which travels every morning 12 millions of miles a minute to feed and bless us, and which the force of gravitation pervades without intermission to hold our globe calmly in its orbit and on its poise. If we could fairly perceive through our outward senses one or two features of the constant order and glory of nature, our materialistic dullness would be broken. Surprise and joy would be awakened. And we should feel that we live amid the play of infinite thought, and the devout spirit would be stimulated so potently that our hearts naturally mount in praise and prayer. And so ends the reading.
We sing of golden mornings, we sing of sparkling seas, of prairies, valleys, mountains, and stately forest trees. We sing of flashing sunshine and life bestowing rain, of birds among the branches, and springtime come again. We sing the heart courageous, the youthful eager mind. We sing of hopes undaunted, of friendly ways and kind. We sing the roses waiting beneath the deep piled snows. We sing the earth's great splendor, whose beauty around us glows.
Richard and I found our first son by answering an ad in the local newspaper. That sounds odd, probably, but actually Richard did see an ad placed by the Department of Social Services by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the ad offered an opportunity for us to adopt, go through a process where we would adopt a child that was presently living in foster care. And this was an opportunity for us. I mean, we tried everything to get pregnant with no success. We did answer the ad and participated in several months of training that was required by the Commonwealth. And we were finally matched with our son, Antonio. Our hopes would be big for our child, but we quickly learned that our hopes would be dashed. You see, Antonio had a miserable early childhood. He was removed from his birth parents' home because he was found in an urban center eating trash out of a trash can on the street. He was 4 years old, alone, and hungry. And we learned that Antonio was being physically, sexually, and emotionally abused. And when we met Tony, he had been in foster care for about 4 years. And during that time, Antonio was placed in 6 foster homes. And at the hands of some of these foster parents, he was beaten, raped, and neglected. And Richard and I weren't turned away after discovering Antonio's history and his struggle. We thought, we're educated, we have resources, and we have decent clinical skills. We knew we could save him. But we were wrong. See, Antonio didn't need to be saved. He needed the calming of his heart. When Antonio joined our family, we were presented with some of the most awful times in our lives. And Antonio was physically aggressive most of the time. He set our house on fire. He ran away from his school. He had issues understanding his sexuality, issues that an 8-year-old should never be worried about. He harmed our pets. He lacked conscience and any internal control. And Richard and I were left asking ourselves, what did we do? We had the option of calling Antonio's adoption failed and return him to the system. We didn't entertain this. Well, maybe for a few seconds or a few moments we thought about it. But we thought if that we had given birth to Antonio, we wouldn't abandon him. So why would we do that now? He was our son, and we would simply get through this. Today, Antonio is either 33 or 34. I can never remember the ages of my children. For example, today is the birthday of our son Robert, and on Friday he said, "Remember, it's my 29th birthday." Not just it's my birthday. My children have been trained or taught, to exclaim which birthday it is, because I never am able to remember. So back to Antonio. He lives in Massachusetts. He has a job. He attends the UU congregation that we raised him in. He's in the choir. He's on committees. He has a girlfriend. He has many friends, and he is rooted in his community. While in school, Antonio played basketball. He was on the football team. He was on the dolphin swim team. He always participated in talent shows with varied results. And he played the trumpet in the school band. And he had the only light bulb powered by a lemon in the science fair. And people told Richard and I that we were saints, offering us accolades for Antonio's successes. And don't get me wrong, we went through hell and back with this child. I always say that I had hair and I was thin before we met Antonio. Richard and I will take some credit. And the day we decided that we could not be the parents we wanted to be, but needed to be the parents Antonio needed us to be, was one of the most important realizations in our lives. We actually talked about the fact that if we didn't change Antonio, if we couldn't help Antonio change, we were looking at prison in his adulthood. And Antonio had exhausted but great parents. But without Antonio's changing, without his willingness to calm his heart, we would have all failed. During this time, our family experienced trauma. Antonio was carrying the trauma of his early childhood, and we were carrying the trauma of all that had happened. We had to alarm Antonio's bedroom door so we would know when he left his room overnight. And to this day, when Richard and I walk into a shop or a store and they have an alarm alerting the worker that someone has entered, and if it sounds like Antonio's bedroom alarm, we immediately feel panicked and sick. And I tell you this story, Antonio's story, and I name the trauma because I think it has a lot to do with how we are all feeling in this moment. We have been abused for 4 years and cannot trust that things will get better. Our hope has been beaten many, many times. We've been taught not to trust, to hope, to expect positive change, honesty, compassion, charity, integrity, civility, or decency. And so we've been traumatized. We've been burdened by despair. We've learned not to trust the idea that change is going to come. It's really going to happen. And we've learned that we must protect ourselves and lash out, live in fear, and put our most anxious and aggressive selves to work. This is how we have been taught to survive. Just like Antonio. Just like we told Antonio that this was his forever home and that he was safe and that he could expect more and lay down his sword and armor, I'm telling you that it is the time now to calm your hearts. It is the time to return to hope and trust. Yes, we've experienced trauma. Yes, we are in a concerning pandemic. But it is okay to be a little vulnerable again. It's safe. Author, activist, and spiritual leader Marianne Williamson tells us we do not heal the past by dwelling there. We heal the past by living fully in the present. And I ask you, what state is your heart in today? And pause for a moment. What state is your heart in today? Surely it needs to be healed. Surely you need to bring it back from the edge. You will never find peace of mind if you do not listen to your heart. We are all starving for certain things in life: security, love, happiness, purpose, success, and independence. However, we define these ourselves. We live our lives trying to find all of these things. But as John Lennon sang, life is what happens while we are busy making other plans. Sometimes our disappointments can be extremely jarring, like my experiences as a parent, or Tony's experiences as an early growing child. Other times life is on a roll and we become elated, but then things turn and we are headed for a crash landing. Life's ups and downs can be so distressing. When we feel like we're being torn apart, we learn to protect ourselves by not getting our hopes up about anything. But then we are living a life of resignation, which isn't fulfilling either. Tying our emotions to all the ups and downs is like stepping onto a perpetual roller coaster, riding through the multiple dips every day. And why live with that kind of stress when a better alternative exists? Author Wayne Dyer said, peace is the result of retaining your mind. Peace is the result of retraining your mind to process life as it is, rather than as you think it should be. If that sounds like giving up or giving in, that's not what Dyer meant. He was referring to the flow of life. We can train ourselves to take advantage of this flow and stay in balance, regardless of any temporary elation or dismay. When life is great, we hope it continues forever. When we're in one of those roller coaster dips, we can't wait until it ends. But nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. That's harder to remember when we're stuck in a bad situation, such as our political situation and the pandemic. It's hard to accept when life is good. Reminding yourself that all things must end and new situations will replace them is a great way to begin detaching and maintaining balance no matter what. Human beings experience physical pain differently than animals do. We exaggerate pain by thinking about how bad it is and how much we don't want it. But we can get control of our pain by focusing on the actual size of the area it covers and how it truly feels. Observing instead of judging can help us see reality. The same applies to events that we label bad. Try to take your focus off of feeling bad long enough to assess the reality, and then shift your mind to finding a positive aspect of the experience or thinking about something good that is also happening. Life just is. It's easier to relax and meet it with a smile when you can. And if you practice living and being in the moment rather than evaluating how everything is affecting you, events will lose their grip, will lose their hold on you. Life is like a flowing river, and we can do three things when we jump into that river. We can go with the natural flow, letting the current carry us forward. We can try to go upstream, or we can hang on to a rock and stay put. If we go to the flow, we'll be carried along peacefully. If we try to go upstream, we'll have a real battle on our hands. And if we hang on to the rock, we'll risk being battered against that rock again and again. So try stepping back, relaxing, and taking a bigger view. Focus on believing that everything will get done in its own time if you take one step at a time. When you do this, you'll find that things will fall into place with less effort on your part. You'll experience the flow of life. Our loving Antonio is a great reminder that even horrible situations are only temporary. And since I can learn so much from them, it's better to look for the lessons than to focus on how bad things seem. Life can't always be just the way we want it, but if we go with the flow and we work with each situation as it is and calm our hearts, we will often be surprised that things turn out better than we wanted. A balanced life that is far less stressful makes everything more enjoyable. And a wise prophet once said, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." May you find peace in your heart and healing in your soul. May it be so. I'm grateful to all of you that have made donations, other contributions, and supported the mission of our congregation as we do the work in our community and our staff. If you are not a member or a friend and are viewing our service from far away, we ask that you too consider supporting the congregation. You can do so by mailing your donation to the address below or visiting our website. We now accept an offering to sustain the life and the work of this congregation.
Happiness is finding a pencil, pizza with sausage, telling the time. Happiness is learning to whistle, tying your shoe for the very first time. Happiness is playing the drum in your own school band, and happiness is walking hand in hand. Happiness is 2 kinds of ice cream, knowing a secret, climbing a tree. Happiness is 5 different crayons, catching a firefly, setting him free. Happiness is being alone every now and then, and happiness is coming home again. Happiness is morning and evening, daytime and nighttime too. For happiness is anyone and anything at all that's loved by you.
As we take our leave and move into another week, let us open our hearts. Let us open our minds. Let us consider the possibilities for peace that only we can bring to ourselves, each other, our community, and our world. Blessed be.
see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Ooh, I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed days and the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh yes.
I'd like to thank everyone who had a part in bringing our service to us today. Thank you, Joseph Brower. I know you're recovering, but offered music and editing so we could pull this service together. Thank you, Nancy, for offering your voice and your gift of music. Thank you to Regina and our Sunday Services Committee for offering us our order of service, and thank you to you for joining us this morning. Please join in reciting the words printed in your order of service as I extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world.
Go now in peace.